Diseases of attitude. There's a lot of things that can wreck your chances to do well. We live in a rather dangerous world, so you got to be not only wise, you got to be careful. Now, attitude diseases are just as bad as physical diseases, right? High blood pressure, heart trouble. I mean, a lot of things lace your chances to do well. So you've got to be careful. And attitude diseases are deadly. I mean, they'll destroy all the good things you start. So we'll go through those attitude diseases, how to spot them, how to look for them, what they are, and the cure. And I'm a pro on these because I've had them all, so I can give you excellent advice on these. Now, the last subject we're going to consider tonight is called the day that turns your life around. And under this subject, we're going to talk about the emotions that can change your life. Human beings are emotional creatures, and emotions are powerful for life change. Now, of course, emotions are so powerful they can go either way on you. Emotions can either build or destroy. So you really have to employ emotions properly. We call civilization the intelligent management of human emotions. If you can intelligently apply your emotions in the right direction, no telling what can happen. Could turn your life around one day would be sufficient. So we'll talk about those. Okay. Now that's a lot to cover in one evening, but we'll keep at it here and see if we can't get it all done. I'd like to have you now jot down the theme of the seminar. Every seminar should have a theme, I guess. We've got one. It's on some of our literature if you happen to notice it, but if you didn't, for your notes, here it is. The theme of the seminar. That's the theme of our seminar tonight. The major key to your better future is you. And I'd like to have you underline two words just to give it some added punch. Underline the word major and the word you, so that it reads, the major key to your better future is you. Now, my first suggestion is transfer this to a card or something where you can put it up, where you can see it every day. Preferably put it up where you can see it at the beginning of the day, before you go off to put the day together. This is a good phrase just to glance at, to keep in mind as you're putting the day together. It's called the silent seminar. If you'll just let this talk to you during the day, I found it to be tremendously helpful. The major key to your better future is you. For a big share of my life now, I didn't have this one quite figured out. Among a lot of things I didn't have quite figured out. Many things used to puzzle me back in those early days. I used to wonder why two people could work for the same company, one make twice as much money. Now see, that used to puzzle me. And maybe they were the same age, graduated from the same school, live in the same community, work for the same company, with the same products and the same services. They've got the same traffic, the same problems, and one makes $1,000 a month, the other one makes $2,000 a month. Now that was my puzzling question. Why would this long list be the same and the money twice as much?
Perhaps there's another way that you could look at the world and another way that you could act in the world. So what it would reflect back to you would be much better than what it reflects back to you now. And then the second part of that is, well, imagine that many people did that, because we've done a lot as human beings. We've done a lot of remarkable things. And I've told you already, I think before, that today, for example, about 250,000 people will be lifted out of abject poverty, and about 300,000 people attached to the electrical power grid. We're lifting people out of poverty collectively at a faster rate that's ever occurred in the history of humankind by a huge margin. And that's been going on unbelievably quickly since the year 2000. The UN had planned to have poverty between 2000 and 2015, and it was accomplished by 2013. So there's inequality developing in many places, and you hear lots of political agitation about that. But overall, the tide is lifting everyone up, and that's a great thing. And we have no idea how fast we can multiply that if people got their act together and really aimed at it. Because, you know, my experience is with people that we're probably running at about 51% of our capacity. I mean, you can think about this yourselves. I often ask undergraduates how many hours a day you waste, or how many hours a week you waste. And the classic answer is something like 4 to 6 hours a day. You know, inefficient studying, watching things on YouTube that not only do you not want to watch, that you don't even care about, that make you feel horrible about watching after you're done. That's probably 4 hours right there. You know, you think, well, that's 25 hours a week. It's 100 hours a month. That's 2.5 full work weeks. It's half a year of work weeks per year. And if your time is worth $20 an hour, which is a radical underestimate, it's probably more like 50 if you think about it in terms of deferred wages. If you're wasting 20 hours a week, you're wasting $50,000 a year. And you are doing that right now. And it's because you're young, wasting $50,000 a year is a way bigger catastrophe than it would be for me to waste it, because I'm not going to last nearly as long. And so if your life isn't everything it could be, you could ask yourself, well, what would happen if you just stopped wasting the opportunities that are in front of you? You'd be who knows how much more efficient, 10 times more efficient, 20 times more efficient. That's the Pareto distribution. You have no idea how efficient people get. It's off the charts. Well, and if we all got our act together collectively and stopped making things worse, because that's another thing people do all the time, not only do they not do what they should to make things better, they actively attempt to make things worse because they're spiteful or resentful or arrogant or deceitful or homicidal or genocidal or all of those things all bundled together in an absolutely pathological package. If people stopped really trying just to make things worse, we have no idea how much better they would get just because of that. So there's this weird dynamic that's part of the existential system of ideas between human vulnerability, social judgment, both of which are major causes of suffering, and the failure of individuals to adopt the responsibility that they know they should adopt. And that's the thing that's interesting too, is that, and like another thing I've often asked my undergraduate classes is, you know, there's this idea that people have a conscience. And you know what the conscience is. It's this feeling or voice you have in your head just before you do something that you know is stupid, telling you that probably you shouldn't do that stupid thing.
Right, but I want you to do me a favor, like don't let life do you like that. Like don't let life put you in a circumstance or a situation where you stop dreaming. Like don't let life put you in a situation where you are helping somebody else make their dreams become a reality that you forgot you have your own. Like don't do that. Don't get so caught up giving some job 30, 40, 50, 60 hours of your day that you don't have any time left for yourself. And so do me a favor, I don't want reality right now. I'm not interested in how much your student loans are. I'm not interested. Because your student loans are sucking your dream. I'm not interested right now. And I got a divorce and right now I just can't. I'm not interested. Eric, I lost a child and you don't know what it's like to. I'm not interested in your reality right now. I want you to get back to your dreams. I want you to get back to your goals, because no matter what has happened in life, you've got another 30 years, another 40 years, another 50 years. Like you can't get stuck on, like you can't let that thing that devastated you in 1989, the thing that devastated you in 1996, 2001, like you can't wake up every day to 2001. 2001 was a tragedy, yes it was, but you can't stay there. Look, I want you to look at your goals, and I want you to ask yourself this question. Do you know what it takes to make that happen? Literally, like, because this is all it's going to take. 3 things, it's all it's going to take. Do you know what it takes? And you guys have an advantage because you've been at this conference, I think, 3 days. You got a whole bunch of information. Look, the only thing it takes to go from where I went to, a homeless, high school dropout, sleeping in abandoned buildings, eating out of trash cans, I went from being a high school dropout, getting a GED, to having a PhD. Listen to me. The only thing it takes is knowing what it takes. So one day I woke up and was like, okay, E, stop talking about what you don't have. You need to know what you don't know so you can get to where you're trying to get to. So being successful is not who you are, it's what you know. So I need to get a different relationship to knowledge. So I'm hyped, but I did not come here just so you can get pumped up or get hyped. You have been given information. You are this close to making every dream you wrote down happen. Why? Because you have been taught by the best of the best. You have been taught by the best of the best. You've been taught by people who've been doing this for years. You've been taught by people who love you and care for you. People who are giving you information that you're not going to get randomly on your own. And so you are this close to your dreams and goals. So I have to ask you the question. You have the information. Now what are you going to do with it?
Hi, welcome back to Mind Control.
So I'm not here to tell you don't do this, do that, don't do that, do this. I'm here to change the way you think. And if I can change the way you think, I can't help but change what you do, can I? Let me introduce you to the concept of success. Ben Franklin was a pretty smart guy, and I want to start with a quote by him. If you do tomorrow what you did today, you will get tomorrow what you got today. You want to know what that means? The average American makes between 3 and 5% more each year. That's the deal. And in today's economy, I'm not sure we're going to make the 3 to 4 to 5% next year as employees. So it takes you 20 years to double your income in America as an average person. That's the mediocrity that we're stuck in life. And then you meet people who have the uncanny ability to double their income in a year, to get promoted 5 times in a year. The ones that beat the system, the ones that conquer it. You've all seen them, haven't you? The difference between them and the ones that don't do that is that they wake up in the morning and they think differently. They understand that if I do tomorrow what I did today, I'm going to get tomorrow what I got today. You want a bigger car? How about a nice house in Tahiti? Sure, would you love a nice house in the hills? We all want better things, don't we? We all want more friends, more stuff, more money, more security, more travel, more enjoyment. If you do the same thing tomorrow that you did today, you're stuck. Stuck. And it doesn't change. And it grows a little at a time. And you get a taste of success. But it's never fast enough. It never excites you. And when it does, it's a good month, or a good 2 months, or a good 3 months, but it doesn't provide a trajectory that creates success. So the first thing I want you to think about today is I want you to wake up tomorrow and do something different. And understand if you do the same damn thing, you're stuck. Just because you did it a certain way yesterday, there's no reason to do it that way today. I want it to hit hard. That's not what drives success. You do.
There's no place for patience in business. You know, patience in life means things happen slower than they could. So if you're going to be on this planet for 70 years and things happen slower than they should, at the end of 70 years, you're going to have less, aren't you? Less experiences, less time, less money, less of everything. So let's all hurry up, man, and get more out of life.
If you think your life is complete, then I suggest that you're an ass. Because tomorrow always has a great opportunity in it. Your life is not complete until you close your eyes. So when you say somebody who's in a job they hate would love to be able to do this, my comment is, why the hell are you in a job you hate? Don't you have the courage to leave it? So you're in a job you hate, you're doing nothing to change it, but you'd like better.
Sometimes
you have
if
to
they,
do
but if they
better.
have mouths to feed. Sometimes I get it. But what were the things about you? Listen, we'd have to go over those specific cases, I think, and really get into each person to break them. But what do you think that were the things about you? One of it is you always had your eyes open to tomorrow and new opportunities. What were some of the other things as part of your personality? Because there aren't many people like you, but I've seen and I'm studying more and more people where amazing things are happening at 55 and 60 and putting them on life journeys that they never thought they were going to have. And I'm seeing that you guys have a lot of the similar attributes, but what do you think? What was it about you, John?
Courage. Courage. You know, the first time I went and shot a pilot for bar rescue was really hard. You think it's easy to scream at people on national television, to insult people on national television, to call you a jerk, challenge your marriage, challenge your integrity, challenge your professionalism? That's hard. That's not who I am. I don't wake up and embarrass people in front of their friends,
Right.
in front of their family. Bar rescue is the hardest work I have ever done. The courage that it takes for me to go out there and do these things.
The only final advice I would give you is I've lived a very unconventional life. And it's because I live my dream every day. Dreams are inspiring. Work is not. Find a dream. Dreams make this world go on. It built our whole country. And when we get in a rut as human beings is when we lose touch with our dreams. We lose the ability to fight for those dreams. So don't be an employee of Google. Live your dreams at Google. Find a way to match your dreams with the goals of your company and your own work, because there's nothing worse than when you see somebody who lost touch with their dreams. You wake up in the morning, you're failing. So you blame the president, you blame Congress, you blame Greece, blame the euro. I mean, construction industry, it's the mayor, it's the... And you wake up in the morning and you look in the mirror and you're not failing because it's the other guy's fault, or it's the economy's fault. But if you looked in the mirror and said, I'm failing because of me, you wouldn't like it, and you'd change that. And I believe the common denominator of failure in any business is excuses. As long as you wake up and blame poor sales on the economy or an environment, then you have no motivation to make it better, because it's not your fault. But in the worst economic environment, 4 or 5 years ago in this country that we've seen in our lifetimes, there were people making a lot of money, weren't there? In the height of that recession, there were people selling advertising, people opening restaurants, people building businesses. Somebody's making money, so the excuse is bull. It's bull. So wake up in the morning and own your failure. Look in the mirror and say, I'm failing because of me. And you won't like it. And then you'll change it. But as long as you don't put it on you, you have no motivation to change it. So in short, if you own your failure, you'll own your success. If you don't own your failure, you'll never dig out. And I find that in any business. Always the common denominator of failure, personally, is excuses. You don't want to be a failure, do you? Not at all. You don't want to look in the mirror and experience that. If you can't blame anybody but yourself, you're going to change. You're going to fight it out. That's the deal.
I have a dear friend who works for a large company, and he wants to open a franchise of sandwich stores. So he meets with me. He says, John, I need some advice. Do I leave my long-standing job and benefits and do this? Or do I... So why can't you have your cake and eat it too? Right? Why can't you bring in a partner? Why can't you bring in somebody to do it? There's ways to get there. It doesn't have to be absolute. So if somebody wants to create a second career, create new opportunities in their life, figure out a way to do it without risking what you have, right? And if you want it enough, you'll figure it out. I BS'd my way into jobs that I didn't have the experience to do and pulled it off. But I had to believe in myself to BS my way into it. And I knew I could figure it out too. Right. And that gave me the confidence to show up at the interview and convince that guy to hire me. Because I was convinced myself that I could do it. And that comes across.
You got to wake up in the morning and drive revenue, which means you got to have the promotions, the ideas, the energy to elevate a business. You got to be a rainmaker in business, or you're never going to get anyone wet. And when they don't get wet, they dry up and go away. And it's that wetness of a rainmaker that filters down and trickles to everybody's success. You have to drive the energy of revenue to be successful. And when you do, you'll have no expense problems. I drive quality as a leader. My systems maintain quality. Now, with regard to new projects, to me, every new project is a ball. And I have to move that ball every day. So I know, for example, that I have 4 balls on my desk. There might be 5 pads. Let's say 5 balls on my desk. They might be 5 different pads, 5 different books, 5 different projects. Every day, I'm going to move those 5 balls. That's the way I live my life. And I can't go to sleep at night if I don't move every one of those 5 balls every day. Sometimes I have 3 balls. Sometimes I have 7 balls. But the amount of balls that I accept and put on my desk, every one of them is going to move forward every day. And I become relentless. So I've learned to live my life based upon the progress I make on a daily basis. And I believe that business is defined by what we do every day, every single day. And business is defined by the days that we have. So if you move those 5 balls every day, you can't help but be successful. You will achieve it, but you'll achieve it on a daily basis.
Thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Please watch our other motivational videos. Thank you again. Hi, welcome back to Mind Control.
You are responsible for your life. And if you're sitting around waiting on somebody to save you, to fix you, to even help you, you are wasting your time, because only you have the power to take responsibility to move your life forward.
Nobody is going to cry for you. They have their own tears. One thing I'm positive about is how ROI negative complaining is, and how much I'm trying to suffocate the practice of it. I really have been fascinated by people that have changed their mindset into understanding that everything that is not going well right now is their fault. It has been remarkably important to me in understanding that everything that I'm not happy about is on me. It's a remarkably interesting brain twist. The amount of energy spent on things that you can't control versus being accountable to what you can control has been a huge separator for me in the last 4 or 5 years as I've dug deep.
I always tell people the most valuable lesson I got from my mentor, Jim Rohn, was I asked my father to work 2 jobs. We were always broke. We had no money for food. And we lived in a community we moved to, which was, I thought they were all rich and we were on the other side of the tracks. It was lower middle class, but compared to where we lived before, these people seem rich compared to us. And I just didn't understand it. And Jim said to me, Tony, it's not about the value of your soul. It's about the value of you in the marketplace. And your father's skills are not that valuable.
Someone said we have 2 primary choices in life. We can either accept conditions as they exist, or we can take the responsibility to change them. See, a lot of people want to exempt themselves from taking responsibility. All they want to do is talk about the problem. Every time you see them, they'll tell you their story over and over and over and over again.
No one's going to do anything for you. Couple rules of being a real leader. You need to take responsibility for your own life. Bringing energy to your team, leading in recruiting, leading in leadership, leading in growth. Nobody owes you anything, but you owe other people everything. That's what a leader does. You take responsibility. You know exactly right now what you're not doing. It would be criminal of you to leave here and say, I don't know what to do. You know exactly what you're afraid of. You know exactly what you've been avoiding, and you got to make a decision to change it. You know exactly what it is. Don't BS anybody. You know what you need to do different. You know the changes you need to make. And if you can do that and stop kidding yourself, you can win. You can overcome your fear, overcome procrastination, whatever that is.
I say to people, you got to participate in your own rescue. You've got to retool yourself. There are no skill sets in community colleges today, for the most part, that are going to prepare you for the economy or a job that's there. So what is that going to do? You're just going to waste more money, more time. We need to retool ourselves. The government's not going to do it for you.
And even when you're struggling, even when you're discouraged, and you feel like other people have given up on you, don't ever give up on yourself.
When everybody's out there making mistakes, when everybody's out there not being responsible, are you going to be the one to be responsible? If you are a father, if you are a mother, it is your responsibility to be the best parent that you can be. If you are in charge of a company, or you're a manager, or anything that requires your responsibility to step up, then it is up to you to lead by example. You have to take the lead, not always following, but leading the pack, leading in the right direction, doing the things that will take you to the levels that you need to go and beyond them. But you can't hold back anymore. And you can't say, I'm sorry all the time, because your sorry just ain't gonna cut it. Step up to the plate and be responsible. Step up to the plate and do what's necessary. Step up to the plate and do all the things that is required, and then we can talk. Then we can talk about the next thing in your life. Then you can have that intimate conversation with yourself, within yourself, and realize that this is it. Now I got more work to do. There comes a time in your life where you have to step up to the plate. There comes a time in your life where you have to understand the significance of what it means to be responsible. To have the responsibility to understand that you have to take full control of your actions. Now, many people tend to wait and not get themselves in a position to where they need to be and to be accountable for what they do in their lives. Being responsible, taking full action of everything you do in your life.
I met my teacher who helped turn my life around when I was 25. That's 6 years. At the end of the first 6 years of my economic life, I've got pennies in my pocket. I've got nothing in the bank. The creditors are calling saying, hey, you told us the check was in the mail. I'm embarrassed. I'm behind on my promises. I live in America. I'm 25-year-old American male. I got a nice family, every reason to do well. And I'm messed up. Now, what's messed up? I used to think it was the community that was messed up. The country was messed up. The government was messed up. If those Democrats ever get in the White House, that'll really mess things up. If the Republicans stay in power, that'll really mess things up. The economy was messed up. Interest rates are messed up. I thought all this stuff was messed up. Then I found out that's not what was messed up. I was criticizing the only thing I had to work with.
What was really messed up was my own personal philosophy. My own errors in judgment in my own personal philosophy brought me in 6 years to pennies in my pocket, nothing in the bank, and trying to explain why I wasn't doing well, living in America, 25-year-old American male, got a family, every reason to do well. Now, once I understood this, here's the formula for failure: errors in judgment, being lax about developing your own personal philosophy. I'm telling you, it's called accumulated disaster.
Thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Please watch our other motivational videos. Thank you again.
What do you want? Because if you don't know what you want and you're watching me, nothing else matters. But when you know what you want, why do you wake up at 3? Because I know what I want.
Look, skill that I learned during those formative years of being a distributor, and that's communication. And it's communication in 3 parts. Here's those 3 parts. Number 1, training, showing somebody how the business works. You've had plenty of that already today. But here's the next one, which I'm trying to do a bit of as we finish here today. And that's called teaching. And I've just used 2 words just to separate the 2. Training, showing somebody how the business works. Teaching is showing somebody how life works. When I met my teacher, Mr. Schoaf, he said to me, Mr. Rohn, show me your current list of goals and let's go over them and talk about them. He said, I've been around a long time. I can probably give you some good advice. And I said to him, I don't have a list. He said, Mr. Rohn, if you don't have a current list of your goals, he said, I can guess your bank balance within a few $100s, which he did. And that got my attention. I said, you mean my bank balance would change if I had a list of goals? He said, drastically. I said, then I'm ready to learn how to set goals. He taught me, and it changed my life, how to set goals. So I'm asking you not only just to be a trainer, I'm asking you to be a teacher. Teach somebody leadership skills. Teach somebody communication skills. So we need life skills and business skills, and you can learn to do both, even if you're fairly new. Here's the most important on communication: learning to inspire, helping people see themselves better than they are, helping people see the future, helping people see not just with their eyes, but help them to see with their mind, insight. Seeing with your eyes we call sight. Seeing with your imagination we call insight. Helping people to see the vision of the future. That's what Mark brought us when he started the company. And those 20 years he was with us, he helped us to see the future. Next, help people to see the possibilities. Describe to them the potential, what's available, using testimonials. There's so many testimonials now. People that started with nothing. Sarah Alfaro started with a brochure, now has this huge organization, Mexico and US. The inspiration of stories, the inspiration of testimonials. It inspired me to spend the rest of my life listening to the testimonials. You know, I've been around Herbalife now 23 years. I'm now looking forward to the next 23. And under personal development, learning the skills, here's what I learned building my own organization. Learn to work with the people who deserve it, not the people who need it. Because that's the way life works. Life doesn't respond to what we need. Life responds to what we deserve. It doesn't say if you need a harvest, you'll get one. It says, no, if you plant in the spring, you'll get a harvest in the fall. Reaping and harvesting belongs to the planters, not to those who need, but to those who plant. Then here's the next key. Show people how to deserve your time. Work with the people who deserve it, but show them how to deserve your time, your attention, your information.
I think that identifies most people's lives. In other words, average becomes sort of like this slow asphyxiation. It's almost like an anesthetic. And that over time we become kind of immune and dulled to the average that we're becoming. I know this is true, at least for me. You probably experience it yourself too. And so over time we sort of minimize where we're at. In other words, I'm a little pudgy instead of being, no, you're a fat ass, right? You don't magnify the degree to which the pain ought to be affecting you. And so really what he means in that is, listen, you're going to get out of your life what you'll accept. That's really difficult for people, I think, to understand is, look, what you think you're worth and what you're going to tolerate is absolutely what you're going to bring into your life and what the outward part of your life is going to look like. And so I live by that. Like, I let myself sort of feel the pain and the difficulty of being not where I want to be in whatever that area is, whether it's my spirituality, my relationships, my money. I let myself feel that pain because, as you know, there's two motivators, right? There's the gaining of pleasure, right? Wanting to go get something, chasing the dream. But then there's the avoidance of pain. And for a lot of champions, that's a pretty big driving force for them. And so at least for me, I leverage both of those things on me to get myself to take action. It's important because there's no relationship between that and eroding your self-confidence. In other words, self-confidence is really self-trust. So the first thing is, the people I know that are really happy are very self-aware. In fact, the best entrepreneurs I know are very self-aware. They're aware of their shortcomings, right? They want to improve them. They want to get to the next version of themselves all the time. And so for me, self-confidence comes because I didn't have it. And I think anytime you meet somebody like yourself or myself who might now appear self-confident, it's because I really had to find tools and resources because I was so insecure and shy and introverted. So I had to find techniques and resources to build that up in me. And for me, it's very simple. It's the promises that I keep to myself. If I have a habit over and over of beginning to stack one on top of the other of keeping promises I make to me, not other people. In other words, the minute you begin to get external in your life, worrying about what other people think about you, right? You've lost all control. And it never fills you up. And people's admiration, people's gratitude towards you will never fill you up. It's your own. It's your own inside. And so for me, self-confidence comes from keeping the promises I make to myself. And the other part of it is being aware I'm doing it. In other words, most people don't give themselves enough credit all the time. They're very aware of these 20% things and not aware of the 80, right? And that's why the dosage is so important too. You've nailed it. It should be 80-20. Right? Because people get addicted to this. I'm not good at this. People don't like this about me. I don't feel good. Instead of focusing on the 80 and stacking it up. Wow, I did eat what I said I was going to today. I did get up when I said I was going to. I made the amount of phone calls. I treated people in such a way I promised myself. It's not just doing those things. It's rewarding it. It's being aware of it and stacking that up. When I work with athletes, the successful athletes I work with, when they're in a slump, it's never that they can't hit a ball anymore or make a shot or swing a golf club. They've lost their self-confidence. Somewhere along the way, they've lost the ability to focus on the things they are great at and stacking those promises they make to themselves. And the way I get them to break their slump is not correcting their swing or getting them positive. It's getting them to acknowledge the small promises, showing up to batting practice early, hitting that extra bucket of balls, beginning to reward themselves for the extra promises they keep to themselves, puts them back in a state of self-confidence. All of a sudden, they're hitting the ball great.
Discouragement can creep in secretly, hide behind clothes, makeup. Discouragement is so bold that it will even hide behind a smile. It will always ride to work with you. And if it doesn't catch a ride going to work, it'll catch a ride on the way back home. If you listen at discouragement, it will cause you to make bad decisions. It will cause you to think that life is not worth living. And secretly, behind the facade of a smile and a good morning and a praise the Lord and a how are you, you will wonder if you're ever going to get out of what you're into.
When spontaneity is discouraged, authenticity, realness, that 100 thing, it suffers. And when authenticity is absent on one level, it shows up as a lack of confidence on another level. And if you can't see that, you will spend your life nursing a belief that you're not a confident person and that you'll never become one. We're all confident, but it shows up in different ways. Confidence is not all about walking around with your chest puffed out, talking loudly and looking for a fight. Confidence can look like love. It can look like humility. Confidence can look like kindness. So what does it mean when you look around and see that you live in a world where humility is weakness and kindness is suspect? What kind of confidence will you have? What happens to authenticity? See, it dissolves because you learn to live a prepackaged life. You learn to accept good enough, and you stop thriving for spectacular. This is self-awareness. And when it clusters and becomes what we call culture, a set of rules to live by. But what we get when we trade in spontaneity and authenticity is a sick culture. The people who wake up one day and decide, I can't do this anymore. I can't live by these rules. I refuse to live a prepackaged life. The ones who decide that only love drives out hate, that fear is not the whole story, that compassion and kindness matter, that mistakes happen, second chances are real, and that laughter can heal. These are the rebels in the sick culture.
Don't deviate. Don't procrastinate. Don't become frustrated. All you have to do to win this battle is stay on track. There are moments that try the human soul so violently and so perplexing that if the truth were told, all of us have had moments that we wanted to throw up our hands and walk away.
If you want to be a confident person, you have to take action. Confidence is a result of doing something. And so many times people cheat themselves because they lack that confidence, so they don't do what they should do, only to leave, say, I wish I would have done that. I can remember when I was in my 20s, I went to a meeting with leaders that were older than I, and I was overwhelmed by the fact that I was truly, not trying to be humble, I was truly the least in the room. And I could have learned so much from them. In fact, they gave times for us to ask questions, and I held back. And I didn't ask questions, and I left that meeting, and I really realized how I cheated myself. And I determined that day that regardless of how intimidated I was going to become, I was never going to cheat myself again. And that I was always going to ask the question, even though I figured it may be a real stupid question. What was I doing with my confidence? I was making a determination to take action on something that I didn't feel comfortable with. And trust me, I did. And each time I took action, it began to give me confidence.
No robber robs an empty house. Nobody holds up a bag lady because she doesn't have anything to steal. If you're up under attack, there's something to be gained. The enemy would not send that level of battle against you if there were not that level of blessing before you. The level of battle you face is an indication of the level of blessings that you stand to receive. With every blessing, there is a battle.
I want to leave this with you. As you look at your goals, be stubborn about your goals. Be stubborn. Don't give up on your goals. You will fail your way to success. Don't give up on your goal. Know your vitamin, as Suzanne de Pass would say. Don't give up on your goal. Be stubborn about your goals. Be flexible and versatile. Ask for help. A lot of people won't do that because of ego, edging God out, because a lot of people, as a result of pride cometh before a fall. Ask for help. Not because you're weak, but because you want to remain strong. You don't have to figure it out. Get started. Do what you can with what you have, and God will do what you can.
I would venture to say the greater the blessing, the greater the battle. You're being fought by imaginations, shadows, and ghosts. Some of you are stressed to death over what ifs and maybes. You've been stabbed by suppose. You lay in the bed wrestling with ghosts of what ifs and maybes and suppose and I think and I heard and I felt, and you wake up tired in the morning because you might have slept but you didn't rest, because all in your sleep you've been fighting.
And And I'm saying to you, if you keep going, if you keep looking for a way, where there's a will, there's a way. If you keep moving, if you keep falling forward, if you keep getting back up, something's going to happen. Bob Marley said something I like. He said, you never know how strong you are until being strong is all you have.
Most people are governed by their emotions. They're having a heart experience in a head fight. You will never win a battle if you're having a heart experience in a head fight.
You never know how strong you are until being strong is all you have. It's your only option. And you'll discover, if you don't panic, if you don't run, you'll discover you are stronger than you give yourself credit for being. Don't surrender. Don't give in. Just keep moving forward. Stay busy. Moving in the right direction. Looking, opening doors, knocking on doors, finding a way out of no way.
Why are we loyal to ineffectiveness? We visit effectiveness for the weekend, on a Sunday, in a motivational message, and a special television show. We love to visit it, but we are married to habits that are ineffective, and we are loyal to things that we know don't work, but because this is how I feel. Whatever you do, don't lose your head.